Have you ever pondered what would happen if the Earth's average temperature increased by 3 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees, or even 10? Welcome to our deep dive into the world of global warming, a phenomenon largely fueled by human activities. From burning fossil fuels to deforestation, we're turning up the thermostat on our own planet, and if we stay on this course, by the year 2050, it's projected to be 2 to 5 degrees hotter. This isn't just about sweating a bit more in the summer. A heated Earth brings a cascade of consequences. We're talking rising sea levels, collapsing ecosystems, extreme weather events, acidifying oceans, and impacts on food production and the economy. It's a domino effect that could even lead to mass extinctions, and yes, that includes us. So strap in, because we're about to turn up the heat and explore the future of our planet if we don't change our ways. Scene script. First, let's dive into what a 3 degrees Celsius increase could look like for our planet. Picture a world warmer by 3 degrees Celsius. It might not seem much, just a slight shift in the mercury level of your thermometer, but the consequences can be staggering. Let's begin with our oceans. As the planet warms, so do the seas. This causes the polar ice caps to melt at an accelerated rate, leading to a significant rise in sea levels. Coastal cities worldwide could find themselves contending with frequent, potentially devastating flooding. The charming canals of Venice could become the norm for cities like New York, Amsterdam, and Sydney. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, quite literally. As our oceans absorb more heat, they become more acidic, disrupting the delicate balance of marine ecosystems. Corals bleach and die, taking with them a wealth of marine life that rely on these vibrant underwater cities for survival. Next, let's talk about weather. With a 3 degrees Celsius increase, the words extreme weather take on a whole new meaning. Heat waves become hotter, longer, and more frequent. The Sahara might need to scooch over because other regions could start competing for the world's hottest spot title. At the same time, hurricanes and typhoons gain more energy from warmer oceans, becoming more intense and destructive. Now, imagine the impact on our food. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns could make it more challenging to grow crops. We might have to say goodbye to French wines and Belgian chocolates as these regions struggle with unsuitable farming conditions. All these changes trigger a domino effect, causing massive disruptions in ecosystems worldwide. Animal species unable to adapt quickly to these changes could face extinction. This isn't just a sad trip to the zoo. It impacts us directly, as biodiversity loss can lead to reduced food security and increased disease risks. So, a 3 degree C increase doesn't sound too pleasant, does it? But what about a 5 degree C increase? Now, let's crank up the thermostat a bit more and see what a 5 degrees Celsius increase might mean for us. Imagine a world where the oceans are so acidic, they dissolve the shells of marine creatures. Sounds like something out of a horror movie, right? Well, this could be our reality with a 5 degree C increase. Our oceans absorb about a quarter of all carbon dioxide emissions, which then reacts with seawater to form carbonic acid. As the concentration of CO2 rises, so does the acidity of our oceans, and this, my friends, is what we call ocean acidification. But it's not just marine life that's in jeopardy. Our food production is also at stake. With a 5 degrees Celsius increase, we're looking at a drastic shift in agricultural patterns. Crops that once flourished in certain regions might not survive the heat, leading to decreased yields and higher food prices. Take wheat, for example. It's a staple food for a large part of the world's population, but high temperatures can cause wheat to mature too quickly, resulting in lower yields. And it's not just wheat. Many crops, from corn to rice, could face similar fates. And of course, this brings us to the economy. As food prices skyrocket and crop yields plummet, the global economy could take a serious hit. Regions that rely heavily on agriculture could face economic instability. This, coupled with the cost of dealing with extreme weather events and health issues related to the heat, might lead to a global economic downturn. So, we've got acidic oceans, dwindling food supplies, and a shaky economy. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, doesn't it? But here's the kicker. These aren't just predictions. They're based on scientific data and research. If you thought a 3 degree C increase was bad, a 5 degree C increase seems downright apocalyptic, doesn't it? But we're not done yet. What if we ramped it up to a 10 degree C increase? Finally, let's look at the truly catastrophic scenario, a 10 degrees Celsius increase. It's a scenario that's tough to imagine, yet it's important to understand the gravity of such a situation. A temperature increase of 10 degrees C would have profound and irrevocable effects on life as we know it. The first and most immediate impact would be on our ecosystems. With such a staggering rise in temperature, many species simply wouldn't be able to adapt quickly enough. This would lead to mass extinctions on a scale not seen since the dinosaurs roamed the Earth. The oceans would acidify at an alarming rate, wiping out coral reefs and the countless species that rely on them for survival. The loss of these underwater ecosystems would disrupt the food chain, affecting everything from the smallest plankton to the largest whales. But the effects wouldn't stop there. The world's ice caps would melt at an unprecedented rate, causing sea levels to rise dramatically. Coastal cities around the world would be submerged, displacing millions of people. Our food systems would also be in jeopardy. Extreme weather events such as floods and droughts would become the new norm, wreaking havoc on crop production. This would lead to global food shortages and skyrocketing prices, pushing countless people into poverty. The economy, too, would take a severe hit. The costs associated with mitigating the effects of such a drastic temperature increase would be astronomical. Entire industries could collapse as resources become scarce and the demand for disaster relief skyrockets. And then there's the most sobering reality of all. A 10-degree C increase could spell the end for humanity. As our planet becomes increasingly inhospitable, we may find ourselves on the brink of extinction. A 10-degree C increase is a nightmare scenario that could spell the end for life as we know it. But is there anything we can do to prevent this? Now that we've seen the potential consequences of our actions, it's time to talk about what we can do to prevent these disastrous outcomes. First up, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. This is the big one, folks. We've heard it a million times, but it's worth repeating. We need to cut back on the amount of carbon dioxide, methane, and other harmful gases we pump into the atmosphere. This can be done on a large scale by industries switching to cleaner technologies, but also on a small scale by us making greener choices in our everyday lives. Think about your car, your diet, your consumption habits. Every little bit counts. Next, let's discuss renewable energy. The sun, the wind, the waves. These are all sources of energy that don't run out and don't add to global warming. It's like Mother Nature gave us the solution, and we just need to use it. Investing in and adopting renewable energy technologies is a crucial step towards a cooler future. And speaking of investing, let's not forget about the power of our wallets. By supporting companies that prioritize sustainability, we can drive change in the market. After all, businesses follow the money. If we demand green, they'll supply green. Now on to consumption habits. It's not just about what we buy, but also about how much we buy. Overconsumption leads to more waste and more emissions. So, let's think twice before we buy something new. Do we really need it? Can it be reused or recycled? And let's not forget about the importance of education and advocacy. Spreading awareness about the realities of global warming and pushing for policy changes can make a world of difference. Remember, every action we take, no matter how small, has an impact. And it's the cumulative effect of our actions that will determine the future of our planet. The future of our planet depends on the choices we make today. Let's make sure we choose wisely. In conclusion, the potential consequences of a 3 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius, or 10 degrees Celsius increase in Earth's average temperature are dire. Just to jog your memory, we've journeyed through a sobering exploration of what our world could look like with this temperature escalation. We've seen how a 3 degree C increase could lead to rising sea levels and ecosystem disruptions. A 5 degree C increase? It could trigger extreme weather conditions and ocean acidification. And a staggering 10 degree C increase? We're talking potential mass extinctions, a possible end for humanity, and a dramatic shift in our global economy and food supply. But we're not just painting a gloomy picture here for the sake of it. We're issuing a call to action. Each one of us has a part to play in combating global warming, whether it's reducing our carbon footprint, advocating for greener policies, or simply spreading awareness. Every little bit counts. So next time you're considering cranking up the thermostat, remember, the future of our planet might just depend on it.